Hello everyone and welcome to PeepSo Engineering Update. My name is Matt and I'm a co-founder and Chief Technology Officer at PeepSo.com. In this live video I will tell you everything you need to know about our latest release, PeepSo 3.2. This is our biggest release since PeepSo 3.0 in October last year. PeepSo 3.2 brings some exciting new features, but also some changes in the minimum system requirements, so it's pretty important to stay updated on what has changed. Let's dive right in. The first point on the agenda is the change in our requirements and the changes that we bring in our compatibility with other things. The first thing I want to talk about is the PHP version. PeepSo 3.2 will require PHP 7.2 or newer, but we are also planning to drop support for PHP 7.2 in March. So it's best to update immediately to PHP 7.4 if you can. We are still double checking compatibility with PHP 8.0 and everything looks pretty good. Unfortunately, WordPress 5.6 is not fully compatible yet, so we don't recommend switching to PHP 8 just now. As you can see here on the official PHP website, each PHP version has its own lifespan that is planned for it. And as you can see here, the ones marked in red are the ones that have reached end of life. End of life means that the PHP team is no longer developing those versions, and that includes security fixes. So if you are staying on versions that are red on this graph, you are running a risk of being on a version that is not necessarily very safe. I've been talking about that at length many times in the past when we have been trying to encourage people to switch to PHP 7, which is much faster and much more secure than PHP 5. And we have dropped PHP 5 along with PeepSo 3 a few months ago. And this is just the next step of the process where we are switching only to support PHP versions that are officially supported by the PHP team itself. So with PeepSo 3.2, we are requiring here 7.2 or newer, but with PeepSo 3.3, which comes most likely next month, we will actually be only officially compatible with the three most recent versions, so 8.0, 7.4, and 7.3. And as you can see here, 7.3 is going to reach end of life by the end of this year, which is why we recommend 7.4 at the moment and perhaps 8.0 in the future, in the near future. We are still waiting for WordPress to announce that they are fully compatible with PHP 8, which brings me to the next point. We have changed the minimum required version of WordPress. We now require WordPress 5.4 and we recommend WordPress 5.6. We are already working on compatibility with WordPress 5.7, which is due next month. And that is the version of WordPress that is expected to ship full PHP 8 compatibility. So the next major version of PeepSo 3.3 will be compatible with WordPress 5.7, will bump the requirement of PHP to 7.3, and most likely around that time we will fully support and endorse PHP 8 as well. To sum up, the best choice of PHP right now for you is 7.4, and the best choice of WordPress right now for you is 5.6. And as a bonus point here, I'd like to mention that we have already tested and ensured compatibility with WooCommerce 5. Okay, let's jump to features. We have focused a lot on accounts and security in this release. We have introduced a whole new config tab called Accounts and Security. Let's take a quick look here on my local website, just to show you what it does. So right here you can see Accounts and Security is a new tab. We have moved a lot of options that have anything to do with registration or security to this area, so it's all sort of in one place. We have introduced reCAPTCHA during login. You can use the same reCAPTCHA keys as you use during reCAPTCHA registration. And this is designed to keep bots away from your login interface to make your login form a little tighter security-wise. Another interesting feature that we added is requiring email to login. Since the usernames in PeepSo are exposed to the public, same as in many other social networks, your username is the handle that everyone can see. It is possible for someone to try to guess your password because they already know your username. So this feature is designed to make it a little safer for everyone, because we can require either everybody or just the administrators to provide the email address rather than the username in order to log in. This is how we do it on peepso.com now. In order to log in as an administrator, you need to provide an email, which is more secure because people don't know our emails that we use to log in to peepso.com, but they do know our usernames, obviously. So this is designed to be a pretty good improvement of security, and at the very least, it will be a little less annoying because you will stop receiving emails that someone is trying to get into your account, in case there are some bots or scripts or hackers trying to get into your admin account, because they will not know your email, but they know your username now. So they might try to log in and they might lock themselves out, and you will get the emails from the PeepSo brute force protection. So this is designed to improve that situation. Another thing that we have added is a widely requested feature of being able to use a separate page as terms and condition and privacy policy. So the idea is, instead of typing your own terms and conditions and your own privacy policy here in the configuration panel, you can choose one of the pages that you have in your WordPress, and that page will automatically become the terms or the privacy within PeepSo, and will be exposed to users as they register through PeepSo as a link. And when they click that link, it will open in a new tab, and they will be able to read the terms or the privacy policy before registering. Let's see what's the next point is the name-based avatars. The name-based avatars are a new feature that has been tested recently through our early access program. It is now stable and available for everybody, and it has been shipped in the free PeepSo Foundation. What it does is it generates an avatar based on the username or the initials. So in my case, my name is Matt Jaworski, so my initials are MJ. It is a pretty cool feature because when you have many users who didn't upload any avatars, they kind of all look the same because they have this gendered male, female, or neutral avatar. This has a few good things about it. First of all, it doesn't expose the gender of the user. Second of all, it looks more interesting rather than a bunch of random, actually not random, a bunch of the same images. You get a more interesting, colorful avatars right here. So this is before and this is after. You are in charge of how they look. Let me zoom in here a little bit. So you turn on the option, you can choose what kind of background you want, whether it's grayscale or not, and what kind of font you want. And when you change the options here, PeepSo will show you a preview of how it would look like. So you can choose whatever you like. The thing is that PeepSo will try to make those avatars a little more interesting by changing the background colors randomly. But if you want something more toned down, you can switch to grayscale, and then all the avatars are going to be gray, depending on what shade you choose. So you can make them very dark, or even you can make them completely black. But if you want uniform colors, you can use grayscale. Otherwise, you can use the random colors here that are generated. So yes, you are in control of the color palette, and the instant preview lets you see immediately how it's gonna look before you save any changes. So that's pretty cool. What's next? We have done some changes to groups. We have renamed the closed groups to private. I have a preview right here. This is our own website. Why did we do that? This is because some people have reported that their members are a little confused and they think that a closed group is a group that no longer accepts members. So we thought that it makes more sense to call them private, and also it makes more sense with the auto accept feature that we have rolled out in the previous releases. So this is an important change if you have any language overrides in this area. If you have renamed the closed groups to something else, PeepSo 3.2 will change that, so you will need to apply your own overrides again to the word private rather than the word closed. Another thing that we have changed in groups is the way the search works. You now have the option of exact phrase or any of the words, same as the PeepSo streams. It's an improvement because let's say you have a bunch of groups that are about cities and they are all different cities like San Francisco, San Andreas, and so on. If someone were to search for San Francisco, the default search was any of the words, so it would return all of the cities that contain the word San in it. By defaulting to exact phrase, you will get results that make more sense. The interface is more in line with the general PeepSo logic, so the exact phrase being the default way of searching through content. And if someone wants something more flexible, they can always switch to any of the words. Next, performance. We have focused a lot on the way we load assets into the browsers. In the first iteration of these improvements, we have focused on the Gecko theme. We did our best to load only the fonts that are really needed and avoid loading any unnecessary assets in order to speed up the initial load of the website. In the next major release, we will focus on not loading any unnecessary JavaScripts for the guests in PeepSo itself. So for example, if someone is not logged in, there probably isn't a point of loading the chat JavaScripts for them. Although there is a delicate balance here because sometimes calculating with the server-side scripts of what is actually needed in the front end might take more time than actually serving the scripts indiscriminately and letting the browser take care of it. So we are careful here not to decrease performance by trying to improve the GT metrics and such. We are also working on our AJAX engine, improving it. So in order to implement new features that are based heavily on microtransactions that are very tiny AJAX calls that are loading very small items, we needed a new engine that will allow us to create a queue of those calls instead of trying to fire them all at once, because on certain servers, one user can only run a certain amount of calls at this given time. So the idea here is to create a queue with priorities and rather load only a certain amount of calls at a given time, let's say 5 or so, and only fire the next ones once the previous ones are already finished. This way we don't choke the server and we don't hit any kinds of limits. And also, in case we do hit any kind of limits, or there is no connectivity or something, and an AJAX call fails for any reason, we are improving that to fail more gracefully and tell something to the user like, sorry, something went wrong, please refresh the site, instead of just freezing the interface, which might happen in certain cases. So the AJAX engine is going to be an ongoing improvement because we are trying to switch more and more heavily to building the interface with small background calls rather than loading big batches of interface all at a time. And last but not least, a small improvement in the Gecko theme related to the notification. As you can see here in the mobile preview, we have added the count of notifications for the little guy here. It's one of my favorite improvements, and it was long overdue given the fact that it wasn't a very big change in code. if you can see here that in the mobile view, you can now immediately see if you have any notifications and how many. Before you had to click this in order to see what's inside, which was a little bit annoying, if I'm honest. So this is one of my favorite improvements right here. This thing just turns on automatically. There's nothing you have to do. If you are using the PeepSo toolbar with Gecko and you have this toggle enabled, the notification count will show there automatically. So let's rehash quickly the most important points. We now require PHP 7.2, but we recommend PHP 7.4. We now require WordPress 5.4, but we recommend WordPress 5.6. PHP 8.0 is still in the works. As far as we are concerned, it's safe to use, but we wouldn't recommend it because WordPress is not 100% ready for it. We have improved the accounts and security flows and security tools that are available to you by introducing reCAPTCHA and on login and email-only logins, as well as custom terms and privacy pages. We have rolled out name-based avatars live out of the early access beta program. We have changed the closed groups to private, and we have changed the way the search works to default to exact phrase and give you the choice to change it to any of the words if you'd like. We are working on performance, asset management, and AJAX queuing very heavily in this release and in the forthcoming releases. And we have introduced the notification count in the little guy right here. So these are the most important things you need to know. So PeepSo 3.2 is out. I hope you like it, and we have much more in store for you in the future. The next major release will be PeepSo 3.3, which is scheduled for March. That's the version that will be officially compatible with WordPress 5.7. And very likely that might be the release where we will actually say, yes, PHP 8 is fine. And this is the release that will require PHP 7.3. But right now you're fine on PHP 7.4 and WordPress 5.6. So grab PeepSo 3.2 and enjoy it. And as always, if you have any questions or concerns, do not hesitate to talk to us through our community or through support tickets. We are always happy to help. Our team is there for you, and we're always glad to lend a hand if we can. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you enjoy PeepSo as much as we enjoy working on it, and I will see you around in my next video. Thank you so much.